Hey everyone, welcome back to a new malicious compliance video. I hope you had a great day. The first story is called, Obviously It's Not Working. I live in an apartment above another apartment. Since we first moved in, we got regular noise complaints from our neighbor below, saying that the noise of my son, 4, jumping off furniture is driving them crazy. He's not jumping off furniture, he's tripping and dropping toys because he's 4 and he's clumsy, but we apologized and encouraged him to be more careful. The complaints kept coming in regardless, so we bought thick foam mats to cover half of our floor to deaden the noise. They are ugly looking and I hate them, but we want to be good neighbors. The complaints stopped, we didn't hear anything for months until this morning. This morning I was dressing my son for school. He had gotten new runners that light up, so obviously the first thing he did was stamp his feet to activate the lights. He happened to be standing on the half of the floor not covered in foam. I also happened to knock over my sweeping brush on the bare floor too, as I rushed out the door. When we got downstairs, the neighbor leaned out her window, yelling about how the noise woke her up and it's ridiculous that we are so loud, etc. I apologized and explained about the shoes, but she cut me off and said it didn't matter and that we were being inconsiderate. I started to get annoyed and was explaining about the efforts we made to reduce noise. But she cut me off again and snapped. Well, obviously it's not working. So I said, okay, if it's not working, then we can stop putting the effort in. Thanks, and left. When I came back, I took up all the ugly foam mats and put them in the attic. Screw her. When she comes knocking to complain again, I'll tell her to invest in earplugs. The next story is called The Dress Code. When I started working in tech support, the company's dress code was nominally business casual. My team, user services, technical support, usually wore jeans because we spent a decent amount of time crawling under desks to manage cables. No one cared that we were ignoring the dress code. After a few years, the company moved offices. When the new floor plans were distributed, they announced that the 6th floor would have a more formal dress code than the other 5 floors. This was the floor where the executives' offices were located. Our team ignored this, as the first several months in the new location were a lot of sweaty dirty work getting equipment moved and set up. Once things settled down to business as usual, one of the vice presidents spoke with our manager and said they didn't want to see support specialists wearing jeans on the 6th floor anymore. Our manager acknowledged this directive. That evening she visited Building 19, a local discount store famous for selling salvage goods. She bought a tuxedo off the rack for $20 and instructed the team that if we got a ticket for 6 West that required an in-person visit, we should put on the tuxedo first. It fit most of us well enough, and if someone grabbed a C-suit ticket and couldn't squeeze into the tux, they would trade tickets with another technician. After about a week, the tux was looking pretty grubby, as a good number of our in-person tickets still required us to move equipment and crawl under desks. We got a lot of questions and directed the bemused users to our manager, who directed them to the VP. The VP quickly caved and we went back to jeans. The third story is called, Sorry, I Can't Guarantee That. This happened between 8 and 11 years ago. A little background. I grew up on the Mexican-US border. Even though I was in Mexico, we got perfect TV reception from American channels, so I became fluent in English by age 8. I've lived in Minnesota for the entirety of my adult life, and friends in Texas mock me because I sound Minnesotan. Fast forward to me being either late 20s or early 30s, working in a suburb of Minneapolis at an Apple store as a lowly salesperson. The job there is to try to get folks to upgrade, buy a more expensive machine that they came in for, get accessories and most importantly, buy AppleCare. I did fairly well because I was upfront with my customers about pros and cons, rather than just give them the scripted spiel about how magical and life-changing those add-ons were. I had a lot of regulars that would only work with me for this reason, and they always ended up buying more in spite of my advice not to. Fast forward to some summer, and this kid from Wisconsin that's about to start college comes in with his middle-aged, tubby, loudmouth dad, and the concierge directs him to me. The dude is just completely rude, so I went into spiel mode, screw this guy. I do all the scripted things, he was having none of it, and I didn't care, I wanna be done with him. We get to AppleCare, and the guy says, can you guarantee that I won't be talking with some foreigner? You can't even understand them. At this point, my petty little Mexican passive-aggressive heart lights up with joy at the opportunity. So, we at Apple want you to feel happy with the services we offer as much as possible. Unfortunately, I can't guarantee that the tech support people will be American, any more than I can guarantee that an American will help you here at the store. I am actually Mexican, living as a permanent resident in the US. I apologize if you find my accent hard to understand. I will go in back and find an American to help you, but there are a lot of foreigners in the store, so it might be a few minutes. The Schadenfreude at seeing this backwards raise a squirm and say, well, you know what I mean. I do, sir. I will get someone else for you. No, you are doing a great job. I proceeded to have my way with his wallet by getting everything and anything that his son may need for college. I even made a couple of jokes to the kid to stay in school, because otherwise he'll have to work at a mall and deal with rude people all day. The last story is called New Office Rules. I work in launch quality for a mid-sized manufacturing company in the States. My team is basically the last step before a new product can get okayed to sell, as we do all the final checks, customer documents and regulatory sign-offs. Our last manager left just when 2020 hit, as he was near 70 and decided to just retire. It took the company until October to decide to hire a new one. During this time, the salespeople stopped coming in, and because my team was some of the few office folks coming in, because we have to check the parts, they started shipping everything to us. Samples, prototypes, final launch parts, paperwork, you name it. Even better, they rarely picked everything up. They may take 5 to 10 of a 25 part run and left us with a mess. A year of this and the office was a wreck, and they didn't care, as none of the mess affected their bonuses, so long as those parts got to the customer on time. The new boss comes in, and he's one of 2 managers on site, him and the production manager. Because of how the factory is laid out, our team is the only one in the office, and so that's where he is. He questions the mess, but we say no one has cared about our concerns, so he shrugs it off. Now our boss has its faults. He's pretty tone deaf on the resources and time it takes to finish things sometimes, because of the industry he came from, heavy automotive. His attitude is, if it takes us all 60 hours a week for the next month, we work it. The other side of that is, he's here with us. He'll occasionally just tell someone their assignment is to not be there for a couple of days if things are slow, and he has our backs. About 3 months ago, the company president comes in for the first time in a year. He's angry about the state of the office. As our boss is the only manager around, he reams him up one side and down the other for the state of things, despite the new boss only being there about 6 months and all this predating him. He tells him to just figure it out, but I want this office clean and professional. The boss comes to me and says, write me a policy and process for shipping material to the office, storage and disposal of things that sit. Have the draft by the end of the week and I'll get you a budget and some factory forks if you need to buy anything, move or install anything. So I write one that's pretty easy and straightforward. Basically what we had already been doing, but more organized. Shelves, ID locations, incoming and outgoing. The boss looks at it and makes 2 comments. We are not inventory clerks. Sales get the idea of the shipment, and unless they get my or the production manager's approval, it's their problem. 2, we don't have that much space. At our clause, we will throw out anything over a week old every Friday. Then he got me 2 maintenance people and told purchasing I had some orders to put in. Then he sent the policy to the president. The president said to do it. 3 weeks later, the office is pristine. President has his chest puffed out next time he comes through. Then last month, it happens. We all knew sales weren't going to pay attention to our policy, even though my boss personally met with the sales VP and the team leads. For the most part, nothing we threw out was a big deal, but then one of the team leads ships a whole prototype order to the office. I know the guy isn't famous for getting other people to do his work and never follows up with anything. And if things go wrong, he throws us or production under the bus. Now this order is a big deal, high 6-figure contract with our number 3 customer, part of a new line that could generate millions. I tell the boss and he shrugs and says I should email the guy to remind him of his parts and the new policy. No response. Friday cleanup comes and the boss calls the guy on his cell, voicemail. So boss puts the part on his desk and has me send a reminder to the guy. Nothing. Monday rolls around and still no follow-up. So the boss reply-outs my email with his boss, sales VP and president on it, saying per policy the guy had till 10 Tuesday, when trash people pick up our roll-off to get his parts. Tuesday rolls around and he has me toss the parts and email the sales guy that I did. Things blew up on Wednesday. The sales guy calls me screaming at me for losing the parts and there's no way to make new ones in time, Who do I think I am to toss his parts, etc. Boss sees my face and can probably hear the screaming from his office and comes out to see what's going on. I managed to stammer something out and then got another earful from the sales guy. Boss takes the receiver from my hand and I will never forget this. You will never speak to my people like that again. Pause for cursing from the phone. I'm hanging up now. The next call you get will be from the VP of Operations for meeting time to discuss this incident. We will also discuss your unprofessional language. He hangs up as the next tirade starts and tells me to ignore the guy's next call. He reminds me we have a big due date upcoming and hands me his credit card so I can order the team dinner and heads back to his office. About 4 he closes his doors, which he only does for conference calls and HR stuff. My whole team can hear the yelling through the door, but not much detail. Around 5:25, HR sends out an email with times for mandatory training on following company policy and another for proper workplace decorum. Boss comes out about 6, looking mostly tired. He remarks, I will never understand why people wanna mess with the folks who make them money and write the rules. Oh, your work assignment for Friday is to be off. Then he just heads back to his office to finish our project. I never did get an apology from the sales guy, but he's been way nicer. I know the contract miss cost him his bonus, it was his only one that quarter. I think my boss took some bad assignments for the next couple of weeks, but neither I nor my team has heard anything about it. Thanks for watching the video, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like, comment and subscribe to the channel for more content, it really helps in the algorithm. I hope you have a great day, stay safe, bye bye.